Fellow FPL managers, today we are looking at the best players to buy for FPL in Game Week 4. So make sure you like and subscribe and let's get right into it. So as always, we will look at the best 5 defenders, then midfielders, then forwards. There are timestamps down below if you are looking for a specific position, so feel free to skip ahead. I won't mind too much. In 5th, we got Senesi. Now, Bournemouth have been a pretty solid defence this season. I know it's only been 3 game weeks and it's a small sample size, but they're doing pretty well. He's also doing very well for defensive contributions, hitting the DEFCON mark every single game so far, and he's doing it fairly comfortably, averaging 14 per game. He does have a goal involvement, but I would not expect that from him in the near future. He was pretty fortunate with it. His expected goal involvements is not too high. You're mainly going to bring him in for clean sheets, defensive contributions, and bonus points here and there. With Bournemouth on a really strong fixture run, in my opinion, the second best fixture run across the next 6 game weeks, I think if you're looking for a cheap defender, he is the guy to go for. Next up, we got Livramento, who was looking fairly nailed at the left back position, and Newcastle have the best defence in the league so far this season, better than Arsenal, better than Bournemouth, really good for expected clean sheets and really low on the expected goals conceded, which I did not expect considering their first 2 game weeks were very tough, and when they played against Liverpool, they went down to 10 men, but they were still very solid. And I'm not used to seeing this from Newcastle. Normally, they're better offensively than defensively. This season, we may see a change, although it could just be a coincidence and it may change over the next few game weeks back to them being an average defense and a strong attack. Either way, Livramento has clean sheet potential and decent creative potential like he always has, and the next few games aren't super tough. Obviously, he does play Arsenal, but then again, Arsenal like to play defensively against strong teams, so we could see a low-scoring game there. Pedro Porro is up next. Spurs across the next 6 weeks, in my opinion, have the best fixture run. It's close between a few teams, but Spurs, despite playing 3 away games in the next 4, their games are fairly easy, and Porro is the best Spurs defender. Across the last 3 seasons of the Premier League, he's averaged a goal involvement every 3.5 starts. So technically speaking, he owes us a goal involvement next game week. He is yet to blank in the first 3 game weeks. Fair enough, his highest points is 6. And he's overperforming on the clean sheets quite a lot along with every other Spurs defender. Somehow out of all the teams on this list, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Spurs, Liverpool, Palace, Spurs are the worst defence but have the most clean sheets. It doesn't make much sense. Porro has been fairly lucky in that sense. But the Spurs fixture run is good. They will keep a couple more clean sheets, and Porro has a lot of goal threat, a lot of assist potential, being on a lot of set pieces, so he is a great player to own. He got DEFCONs last game week in game week 3. I wouldn't expect that again because he's not really nearing 10 that much. In fact, he had 8 by the full time whistle, and Opta somehow clawed 2 more for Porro to reach 10. So Porro owners, myself included, were very fortunate, very lucky with that one because they somehow found 2 extra defensive contributions in that game, which got us an extra 2-pointer and turned a blank into a return. In second place, guys, we have Van Dijk. The next 2 fixtures are good and he is a defensive contributions beast, and the clean sheet potential across the next few games is pretty high. He's got reliable minutes and he is a goal threat from corners. I think long term he's a great player to own because Liverpool, when the fullbacks gel more with the back line like Konate and Van Dijk, they will be keeping more clean sheets. Right now their defensive data isn't amazing. It's not awful, but it's not great. But that makes sense because the 2 fullbacks are new. It's going to take them a while to bond and, get stronger. So I think long term Van Dijk is a great player to own and that Liverpool defense will get stronger. For now, they have a couple easy games, so you could see some clean sheets there as well. And even without the clean sheets, Van Dijk seems like someone who's going to be picking up defensive contribution points fairly consistently. In first, we have Munoz, who has really good attacking data. 0.3 expected goal involvements per 90 for a defender is fantastic. He was very unlucky not to get an assist against Aston Villa as well, with Sarr missing one of the easiest shots I've seen this season. The defense, again, is kind of like Spurs, where they've not really deserved a lot of clean sheets. They've somehow kept 2 anyway. But across the next few game weeks, we could see a couple clean sheets from Palace. I mean, looking at the Sunderland game and the West Ham game, those are both decent on clean sheet potential. And if you look at the next 4 games, Munoz has attacking potential against every single one of those teams. Even the Liverpool game, while it is tough, like I said, Liverpool's defense is still a little shaky, so he could even bag an assist or a goal against them. Munoz is someone I really want to own, but I simply just can't because I am not in the position to be making a defender transfer right now. I think in the next couple game weeks, he will get a goal involvement and a clean sheet. So if you own Munoz or you're looking to buy him in, it's a really good idea. In midfield, we begin with Kudus, who has very low expected goals, I'm going to be honest, and even his expected assists aren't too high, but he is getting reliable minutes playing for an attack that has the best fixture run in the league. So you simply cannot ignore him, especially at that cheap price. His ownership is very high, so if he does haul and you don't own him, like me, then you are going to get punished quite a bit. He's at the bottom because he's just a big if, you know. Fair enough, his data is not bad, but it's not great either. And on this great fixture run, he could find his form, but he could end up just being a mediocre FPL asset who isn't too good. In fourth, we have Tavernier, who I think is incredibly underrated and really under-owned. At only 5.5 million, if you can't afford Semenyo, he is the best Bournemouth midfielder to go for. Decent underlying data, really good for defensive contributions, as you can see here, 10.5 per 90. Not to mention his minutes are looking very reliable at the moment, averaging 83 per 90, and there's no injuries in that Bournemouth attack either, so it's not like he's there temporarily in place for someone. He is going to be starting most weeks, week in, week out. And I already said it with Senesi, that Bournemouth fixture run is very good. So if you want to try and save money, you know, cut down prices somewhere to fund some other big transfer, looking for Tavernier in the midfield is a great idea. Above him, we have someone who is only slightly more expensive in Paqueta. Now, Paqueta has got good defensive contributions per 90. He's on penalties, he's on free kicks, and he's playing in a, let's be honest, a fairly terrible attack this season. Game week 1 and 2, they were awful, but game week 3, when they actually played a tough game, they somehow picked it up, which is really weird. Paqueta is also a weird FPL asset. He'll score a banger from long range, he'll score a penalty, but he doesn't really get too many big chances from open play, and that's what you have to accept if you're going to bring him in. He's great value and he's going to be getting you consistent minutes, consistent points now and then with defensive contributions and being on penalties. On the whole, you get what you pay for with him, but the West Ham fixture run is looking pretty good and he is on some good form. Also, it's a bit weird with all these midfielders. None of them have any good assist potential whatsoever. Like Kudus is the highest here, but even that, 0.26 per 90, that is pretty low. A lot of the midfielders that do have good assist potential don't really have great fixture runs to take advantage of. It's not like no one in the game is actually getting a good amount of expected assists. It's just a lot of them don't have a good fixture run, guys. A lot of you will be surprised, maybe even annoyed at the second pick. I've got Wirtz in second place. That is because I believe Wirtz is the only safe Liverpool attacker to go for, aside from Mohamed Salah, who is overpriced at 14.5 million. So I've put Wirtz as the main Liverpool attacker to go for if you do want to take advantage of their good fixture run, because for game week 4, everyone else is a risk, or you can have Salah, which if you have him, you won't need to buy him in. And if you don't have Salah, I don't think you should bring him in because that would mean selling Haaland. Either way, if you want to buy a Liverpool attacker, it's going to be Wirtz. The underlying data for Wirtz is pretty terrible. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, although the defensive contributions aren't too low, which is I'm quite surprised by. I didn't expect that. Wirtz has had some tough games to begin with. We all knew Liverpool had a tough fixture run game week 1 to 3, so I'm not surprised he's not got too many points, although I did expect a little more. In these next 2 game weeks, we are going to find out if Wirtz is a good Liverpool asset or not. If he blanks in both game week 4 and game week 5, he is not a good player to go for, but I would be shocked if he did. It could be another case of a Bundesliga player coming to the Prem and absolutely stinking up and being sold a couple years later to a Turkish team, or it could turn out he is a really talented player who can do it in the Prem and he will show us in the next 2 game weeks, and that is what I'm gambling on. And at first place for the second week running, we have Semenyo, who has risen 0.4 in price since game week 1. I'm fortunate enough to have owned this guy in game week 1 for his 15-pointer, and I keep recommending him because he is so damn good. The expected goals and big chances really high. His finishing leaves a little more to be desired. He's scored 2 goals from, I think, 4 or 5 big chances. I think he could maybe have 1 more goal, but we can't complain too much because he's doing really well. He will get defensive contributions now and then, but not too often. We're mainly looking at the expected goals combined with a good fixture run. You simply cannot ignore Semenyo. At 7.4 million, he is still a really good value player. For the forwards now, guys, we are starting with Gyökeres. Now, I originally wasn't even going to have Gyökeres on this list, but looking at the recent form of Man City and Newcastle, they've not been playing amazing, so Gyökeres could actually turn up against these teams, and the fixtures surrounding that, Forest home and West Ham home, are 2 green fixtures. In 4th place, we have João Pedro. Now, a lot of you watching this probably already own João Pedro, but that doesn't change the fact he is still one of the best forwards to buy in FPL. The creative potential is kind of there and kind of not. He's created the most big chances of any player in this video, The issue is his expected assists is really low, and that basically means he's finding himself in a position that's not so great, but using his great footballing ability to pick his teammate out and create a big chance for them. Another thing about João Pedro is that both his goals have come from corners. He's scored 2 headers, which is really weird. That's not the type of goal he normally scores, so it'd be interesting to see how he scores from here on out and if he still continues to get assists despite the low expected assists. In third, we have Mateta, and like we said with Munoz, the fixture run is really good. The next 2 game weeks, Mateta is probably scoring in both of them. You know, I can't guarantee it, don't quote me on that, but the expected goals are looking pretty good. The big chances looking pretty good. Obviously, there's next to no creative potential with him, but he still has the highest expected assists per 90 in this graphic, so maybe I'm wrong. The only concerning thing about Mateta is that he is averaging 1 shot in the box per 90, which is really weird and I don't really understand it, but he's had a few tough games, so playing home to Sunderland next should hopefully change that stat, turn it around. We have the 4th Bournemouth player of the video in second for the forwards. We have Evan Nilsson, who is on penalties for Bournemouth. He's doing all right with the goals. He scored 1 in 3. The expected goals aren't too high. He's not been spectacular. Semenyo has been hogging most of the expected goals, and even Tavernier. But Evan Nilsson being on penalties and coming on this really good fixture run, I think it's a great time to buy in on him because he has still got very low ownership. So if he does get the expected goals, which he will, and if he puts them away, which, you know, he's a pretty good striker, so he should, you'll be getting points from a player who almost no one owns. I'm honestly a bit surprised that the expected goals are so low considering he's Bournemouth's main striker. It's confusing how he's not more involved. I mean, I've not been watching the Bournemouth games, so obviously I wouldn't have a clue of what's going on if he's not finding himself in the right position or he's just not involved in the play. Either way, that could easily change in a heartbeat. So while he is a risky player to go for, if I was bringing in a cheap forward this game week, Evan Nilsson is the guy I would be going for 100%. Some of you are going to kill me for who I've put at number 1, but I still think Watkins is the best forward to own and the best forward to buy in FPL. The Aston Villa fixture run is still really good, guys. It's still something you can't ignore. And even though Aston Villa are in absolutely awful form, doing nothing offensively, nothing well defensively either, I still think Watkins is going to shine very, very soon. We know he's not a bad player, all right? We know he's good. He's proven that the last 2 or 3 FPL seasons. And we know Aston Villa are a good team as well. We know they're not going to be terrible forever. It's only a matter of time before they find their form. And I think I said this last video, clearly it didn't materialise last game week, but it could this game week. Teams find their form on good fixture runs, which Aston Villa do have. Away to Everton isn't necessarily amazing, I'm going to be honest. But at the same time, it's not awful. They've conceded 3 goals in 3 games against 3 fairly mediocre teams, so it's not like Everton are a solid defence. So yeah, agree or disagree with me, only time will tell how good Watkins will be as an FPL asset. Guys, if you did make it this far, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you agree with, let me know what you disagree with, and I will see you all in the next video.